Hello Unreal users, Alexei VRay Guide, and today we're gonna do some recap, and I'm gonna show you another way that you can export your 3ds Max scenes into Unreal Engine by using DataSmith. And as you can see here, I already made a test with exporting the lights. So this is what we're gonna be talking today. But as you can see here, the lights are working a little bit differently because we have different HDRIs. We're actually using the same HDRI that I used in this scene. Well, my goal was actually to get the same lighting as my reference. You can see the light is getting pretty good amount of light here. And in this scene, I'm almost there. Again, it's not 100% accurate. In the next video, I'm going to show you how we can use VRay Unreal in order to get the same result. But this time I actually just wanted to check if I can get DataSmith to get me the results I want, the same results that I actually got in 3ds Max. So this is not that far from the origin. If I click play here, we can see the lighting is nice and soft. I get those very soft shadows. This is a production bake, so it took about 3 hours to do, but it's a good test for you to start practicing your skills. So in order to learn how to do a good light bake, you need to do it a couple of times. This is how you learn. This is how I actually learned. I had to do it 5-6 times, and then the whole thing became my second nature. All right, so now let's go to Max, and I'm gonna show you how you can get those lightings match to your 3ds Max scene. So here in Max, I'm going to export, file, export this whole loft scene. Let's call it loft 2 and save. I'm gonna export DataSmith. All right, and after the export, I'm going to go create new level, empty, and bring my loft number 2 into that scene. All right, and I'm gonna switch this to unlit mode, so we'll be able to see our scene here. All right, so let's check what actually came out with this scene. First, we got the sky here, the skylight, which I think the dome, the VRay dome here represents. And we have also in our environment, we have also bitmap. Last time I deleted it, but this time I actually kept it in there. That's how we do lighting in VRay. We have the dome, which is instant, or sometimes we do detach them, and we have one for sharpness, one for soft shadows. But you can use the same HDRI and just instance it into your dome light and into your environment in order to get the same lighting results with your HDRI. Now, when you go to Unreal, we can see that we got a new material that came in here. It's called image-based environment material. And if we open that material, we can see that this is exactly the same blueprint for HDRI that I showed you how to assemble last time in my previous video that I did HDRI for interiors. We did this whole assemble manually, but here, as you can see, if you do export your environment, it does come as SIBL. SIBL, image-based environment material. I mean, I call it SIBL, but image-based, it's basically image-based lighting because we're using HDRI in order to create lighting. So this, I'm not gonna save it. So this HDRI right here, if we select this material, we are going to use in our skylight in order to get the same results. So if we select our skylight, and go select it here. We will be able to add it to the scene. One important note before we continue, let's do save current and call it loft 2. Just before something crashes and we can lose our what we did here. Now here we have also that VRay Sun that was exported. Let's put it actually on the lit mode, and so we can see what's going on here. All right, so we need to reduce the intensity here. It's obviously too much. Let's put 5 on those lights. 5 and 5. All right. And now we actually can repeat all of those steps that we did earlier. But what I wanted to show you is that we're getting the same light direction. So what we actually were able to get right is just this sun right here, which being represented as VRay Sun. So it's got the same parameters, the same everything basically. And let's go back to Unreal. So we get the nice direction of the sun. The only thing is we need to bring back the environment, and that I think I showed you last time with the HDRI. So we're gonna click on Show Materials, then Static Mesh, go to the Engine Content, and then we have this Editor Sky sphere. And into this Editor Sky sphere, we can drop this image-based lighting. But before I do that, I need to create instance from that material. And I'm going to activate all of those parameters. So you basically see we have more shading mode, unlit, opacity. Oops. And I'm gonna save this. And for the rotation, we gotta do here convert to parameter, rotation, position, and let's do this rotation angle. And now let's click save. If we go back to our instance, we can see we have those two parameters appearing right here, and this one is to rotate our image, and the rotation angle, you can see what it does, but we're not going to use it. We're just going to use the rotation parameter. So with this guy being created, we can close it, save it, and now let's drag and drop this instance into our sphere editor, and voila, we get our lighting back into this. Now I got a comment using a tool. So you can use a tool in order to match your HDRI. I thought actually the DataSmith gonna give me that option of getting it matched and proper, but it didn't. I thought if I'll export that HDRI image, I'll be able to get my my lighting in the right direction as my 3ds Max. Now what I noticed is also that this sphere, it flipped my HDRI image. If we look in our scene right here in 3ds Max, the those kids, they sitting on the right hand side and the lighting coming from the left hand side. If we go back to Unreal Engine, we can see that those kids are actually, we're having it vice versa. We're having the sun here, and then the kid sitting on the left side, and the sun's coming from the right side. So you can resolve it really quickly just opening this in Photoshop. You can go image rotation, you can flip canvas horizontally, and then voila, you got them flipped. And you can save that. That's what I did. I saved that, and then I actually dragged and dropped this into my Unreal. Now we can see that this image looks much darker than this one, and the reason for that is that it's got this RGB curve applied to it. So if we just copy that RGB curve, we'll be able to get the same colorization as we have on the other one. So this one is actually flipped. Okay, now I can take that image, the flipped one, and in my instance, let's go back here, I can actually change it to the flipped. Click save, and now this image is looking the other direction, and it's also sharper. Let's see, it's much sharper. Oh, disconnected the sRGB, that's nice. And it didn't do anything here, but it looks nice and sharp. That's weird, I never had that before, but it's pretty cool. You know, last time I showed you that you need to put your maximum texture here 4096, and then we had to choose here no bitmaps in order to have it super sharp. But this flipped image is already sharp, so we're not gonna do anything. It's looking pretty good. And now I'm gonna recap really quickly what we did last time. So first we need to bring post-processing volume, and I'm gonna do it really quickly because if you didn't watch the previous videos, you can go ahead and watch them, but this is a super quick setup. So first we level up, equalize our exposure 1, exposure 0. We're fixing our slope following recommendations of Epic 0.6, 0.5, 0.25 to get nice and good contrasty view. Scrolling down, ambient occlusion, gotta lower this 0.115, and last thing, infinite extent bound, just to make sure to cover everything. Okay, now nothing ramps up, the exposure doesn't jump. We can start in adjusting our materials real quickly. We're gonna go to, not materials, our lighting maps density. So we need to bring everything to orange color. All right, so I brought everything now to orange color like we did previously. Let's go back to unlit, and now let's add importance volume, Lightmass importance volume. Place it to cover the entire scene. As I told you earlier, without this, the rendering times can be really long, but now we're actually telling that this is the important stuff here in the middle. So render just that light bake, just this portion. Okay, So now that's everything within this importance volume box. We can bring our portals. And again, I'm gonna place it in every opening. All right, and the sky portals were placed. Now we need to place reflections in the middle of every room. All right, and we are ready to bake. So now I'm gonna go to my world settings. As if you remember, the static light and the indirect light, they need to be at least 1. So my parameters is a little cheat, is 2, but whoops, it's gonna be 4. Indirect light and skylight bounces, both of those bounces gotta be 10 and 10. So very simple parameters, 05, 10, 10, 4. And we're gonna use compress light maps, and we're gonna get slightly better density. And let's do the packed light and shadow maps, 4096. So it's gonna be nice and big. All right, now let's click preview and do our light only build. All right, and the lighting was built. Let's see how it looks. Looks pretty dark because our ambience light is at 0, actually at 1, but it's not bouncing enough. Also, our sun is very low intensity, 10. I think last time we used 26, so it was bouncing much more. And as I showed you earlier, our indirect light needs to be something higher. So I'm gonna do a test. I'm gonna put this on 15, and let's also take our ambience light, and I'm going to actually increase the reflection cube maps, so we'll have much better reflections here. But with building just lighting, that's I'm doing for the next time, so I will not forget to have better reflections. And then this indirect lighting here, let's put 3. All right, so we're bouncing a little bit of the ambience. I know I showed you last time you have to separate. First try to bake and see how your sun works, then see how your sky works, and then combine them together. But just for the sake of this idea, I want to bump it up and see if I'm getting those nice soft shadows and it's getting a little bit lighter than supposed to be. Okay, so obviously this is too dark. Let's do another build and see if we get more bouncing light into the scene. We used 15 for the indirect light on our sun, so that should be quite big bouncing challenge for this loft. All right, and the build was complete, and this is looking very nice. Look at that lighting. I'm gonna press G to go to the game mode to hide those. If you press G back, you'll get them. You get all your assets back. But look at this, wow. Oops. What's happening here? I'm gonna go to my camera, lit mode. Let's exit this. And let's play again. All right, wow, look at that. Nice soft shadows coming down. I like this A little hot spot inside. Yeah, this stuff's looking pretty good. Very nice soft shadow. So we are getting there. We are getting there slowly. I like this kind of direction of light, like how everything kind of been lit here. We still can add a lot of effects. It's just raw lighting here. But again, this is kind of getting dark. It's very similar to our example. Here somehow the lighting looks a little bit too flat now that I'm looking at this, because this one got much better contrast overall here. But if we go to light map density, if we go to lighting only, we can really see and appreciate all this lighting here. Of course, minus the artifacts. All right, and I think it looks great. You know, it's getting better and better. Again, we didn't treat any materials, we didn't add any extra glow and like little fog that's going into the horizon, all of those little things. We haven't added anything. It's just raw lighting and with not treated materials. So I released a couple of videos earlier that describing each step in detail, and if you did miss those, go ahead and watch them. But regardless, I think those are very nice lighting examples here we're getting by using exact the same location position of our sun from VRay. Okay, so I really do like the soft lighting. In the upcoming videos, we're gonna start adding cameras, we're gonna start adding more furniture, we're gonna try mega scans, Quixel. They have a lot of cool materials there. We're gonna try all of that stuff. Also going to add some programming blueprints in order to choose and switch materials. So if the stuff is interesting, follow those videos, practice your scenes. You gotta do this light bake and the whole setup a couple of times in order to get it right. But overall, I'm very pleased with this result, and I hope you guys will have the same success as we have with this loft. All right, so thanks a lot for watching. Check out the next videos. This is Alex, your VRay guy. Talk soon. Ciao.